Ahoy everyone, and welcome back once again to the channel. I've definitely got something interesting and a little bit different to show you in today's video. Have you ever heard of the watch brand Mun? I think that's how you say it. If not, well, hopefully I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the new release and this watch brand. This brand focuses on mechanical moon phase watches. Now, they are about to release their second watch, so it's not like they've made 15 or 20 of them so far. But their first release was launched on Kickstarter and it was very well funded, and they are now about to launch, well, in fact they've already launched the Kickstarter for the second watch and it's already been backed. It's raised enough money for the watches to be made and sold, so the pressure's off. I can just relax. The campaign has been funded. I can just enjoy myself with this watch and tell you everything you need to know in this video. And I gotta say, it is quite special. Now, this is one of those brands that seems to go well beyond the extra mile. They cross every T, dot every I, leave no stone unturned. There's almost too much information about this watch in their Kickstarter campaign and on their website for me to include in a sort of 10-minute review. So I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, but there is a lot to get through. So the first watch they made was called the Origin. This watch is called Orion. And this watch has been made to celebrate Artemis 2. If you're not familiar with what Artemis 2 is, it's a mission to do a sort of flyby the moon in, well, I think it's going to launch in September 2025 at the earliest. So this is definitely a sort of space NASA inspired, well, collaborative effort. This brand likes to get you guys involved. They set up projects where they get feedback from you guys and you essentially help, well, decide what goes on with the watch. And that's what they did with this Orion, and I suspect that's one of the reasons why this watch got backed almost instantly. Yeah, the campaign on Kickstarter has proven to be very successful already. So yeah, if you are interested in this watch, I wouldn't hang around actually, because they are selling a limited number on Kickstarter. Now, there are 4 colour versions available to back on Kickstarter. 2 of the 4 are limited. They're going to produce 200 and no more. The other 2 are, I guess, unlimited to some degree, although, like I've said already, they're only selling a certain number through Kickstarter, I believe. And the saving is pretty good, as you would expect. Most Kickstarter campaigns are designed to raise awareness, but also raise funds. And as a sort of reward back to you guys for backing a campaign, brands sell their watches fairly cheaply through Kickstarter. So the day-to-day price of this watch is going to be €1,550, but you will be able to pick it up for €960. Now you might think, oi, oi, oi. When you learn what's gone into this watch and you understand the specifications and things like the movements, for example, the price starts to make sense. And something that they've done that I really, really like is they have listed their costs per unit in the Kickstarter campaign, so you can see that this is not a $200 watch that they're trying to sell for over $900 or over $1,100, $1,200. So, for example, the movement inside this watch is an incredible movement. It is the SW288-1A. Now, the movement that's in the prototype that I've been sent to review for you guys is the automatic version. The one that's actually going to be in the full production watches is the manual wind version only. There are some caveats with this review. This is a prototype. There are some fairly significant changes actually, which I will run through in a moment. But yeah, that is a pretty awesome movement. And actually I looked up how much it costs to replace this movement in the UK, and Cousins is selling the automatic version for just under £500 just for the movement. That is the automatic version, mind, but still, that blew my mind. So why is this movement so special? Well, it is a Solita. It's an SW movement, 28,800 beats per hour hacks. Obviously, the hand wind only one does hand wind. The automatic one is also hand wind. Instant date change. You've got the date complication at the 6 o'clock. At roughly midnight, you've got an instant date change complication. plus minus 7 seconds a day, 42 hours of power reserve, a 29.5-day moon phase complication. Yeah, it is just a cracking movement. I suspect Cousins is selling this movement for a little bit more than they should, but still, it's obviously a very, very good movement. Another standout feature of this watch is the moon phase complication. It looks like, reading through the Kickstarter campaign, that they have gone to some pretty extreme lengths to create a very realistic lumified BGW9 lume moon on the moon phase complication, but also a very accurate representation of the Orion constellation. So if you're a bit of a space geek, I've got to be honest, I love spacey stuff. I'm well into the documentaries, and I've read or tried to read a few books on space and time and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a little bit of a sort of space geek. And I am familiar with one or two constellations, and from my untrained eye, it does look pretty accurate. I got to say, now when the lights are switched off, that moon almost looks 3D. And if you look really, really closely, you will be able to see some of the stars in the Orion constellation. Yeah, they're lumified as well. You've got lume on the hands, lume on the sort of floating applied indexes. Another really cool feature. They've put a lot into this watch. You can just tell. I'm taking my time covering the specifications. Let me crack on a little bit. So 316L stainless steel, sapphire crystal. Let me actually cover the caveats. So this is an automatic movement inside this watch. You have a solid case back on this one. The case back on the production watches is going to be an exhibition case back. They're going to show you the hand wind SW288 movement. That does mean the production watch is going to be slimmer than this one, which I think is a good thing because the case back's quite deep on this one. And on this particular version, you can see there's some yellow accents. There'll be blue accents on the equivalent production version of this watch. I think that's it though. So yeah, manual wind movement, cinema case, exhibition case back, and a different color or different color accents on the dial of this particular version. Lots of layers to this dial, so you've got those floating applied indexes, but then you've also got that sort of sunken moon phase complication with a sort of raised central circle area, then a textured sort of lower section, and then a raised section with the floating applied indexes. There's a lot going on with this dial. It doesn't look busy, complicated, or untidy. They've just clearly put a lot of effort into designing something that is a little bit more interesting to look at, and I think the watch deserves it for sure. The movement deserves it. I think the brand, clearly wants to give you something special, and I think that's one of the reasons why this campaign seems to be so well supported on Kickstarter already. The watches will be supplied on a leather strap. Now, they have sent me a new bracelet which is compatible with this watch. I don't have many details about the bracelet, but it seems to be a very nicely finished bracelet, a mix of brushing and polishing, very tidy clasp, a nice discreet small outer shell, milled inner elements, solid links, solid end links, screw pins. Yep, looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I like the design. It's very sort of Seiko, Grand Seiko-esque, isn't it? With those sort of polished inner links. Now, if you hadn't noticed already, this watch is Swiss made. Yeah, that does tend to elevate a brand and a watch. You will pay a little bit of a premium for Swiss made watches, but some people really like to have that reassurance that their watches, are made in Switzerland and they conform to certain standards. Now let me wrap up the specifications run through. So 100 meters of water resistance with this watch. That's more than I was expecting, actually. Pull push crown, screwed down case back. Sapphire crystal. It looks flat, but it isn't. It is a piece of double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. The domage, very, very subtle, but it is domed. 316L stainless steel. They're offering a 3-year warranty. Don't see that too often, do you? Yeah, that's pretty good. Nice mix of brushing and polishing on the case. Some very fine polished chamfered edges on the case. Yeah, nice crown. It's got the logo on it. Well, I think that's it in terms of specifications, but if I've missed anything else, I'll pop it on the screen as I go. I'll also wrap up with the usual lume degradation test. If you're interested in this watch, I've put a link to the Kickstarter campaign in my video description. It's not an affiliate link, it's just going to take you over there. There is more information about this watch, like I've said already many times. Yeah, they really have put a lot into this watch, and there's a lot of information on their website and on the Kickstarter campaign about this watch. So yeah, if you are interested in it, like I said already, I wouldn't hang around. They're selling this watch in limited numbers through their Kickstarter campaign to begin with, and yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Very cool. Right guys, as always, thanks for watching.